Welcome to another teacher tip with Mr. Long, and in this video we're looking at what is in the NSC exams when you write your final exams. Now if you're a teacher, then make sure that you show this video to your students, and if you're a student, make sure that you share this with all your other friends, because it's very important. It's a question that's often gets asked: what is going to be in the exams, Mr. Long? And so I'm going to show you a way to find that information out. Not only what will be in the exam, but what will the exam look like with regard to the structure of the paper. And all of that has been published by the department under what's called the exam guidelines. Now, not all students know about the exam guidelines, but you're allowed to know about them, and you can go find them by just searching for grade 12 exam guidelines. And you're looking for the Department of Basic Education link, and there you can see there is the link. Now, the latest ones as of this video are the 2021 exam guidelines. So you can see the 2021. If they bring out new ones, then obviously that'll be a newer date, but at the moment those are the ones that we are using when we are preparing for your exams. So let's click on the link over here, and here you can see the details about the exam guidelines. And if you scroll down, they have all of your subjects listed where you can download the exam guidelines both in Afrikaans and English. So for example, let's scroll to a subject like physical science, for example. If I click on the physical science one, here we have the exam guideline document. It'll have all the details for you. So if we scroll through it, it tells you the breakdown of your two papers. It tells you the structure. There's going to be multiple choice questions. Question 2 onwards will be longer questions. They give you a breakdown of the different cognitive levels and the weighting of the different content for each paper. Like, for example, in the physics paper, 65 marks will be on mechanics. Electricity will be 55, where the others will be 15 and 15 for the other ones. They give you some skills that you need to have for those papers. They talk about information you need to know from grade 10 and 11. And then here they come to the key things. Like, here's where you really want to look at your physics paper. These are things. Do you know that? Do you know that? Go through this like a checkbox. Okay, I know that, I know that. Sometimes we rely just on the textbook, but sometimes there's information here that's not in the textbook. Make sure that you go through all of these little steps. What is that? What is that? What is momentum? Know all of these things. Make sure that you can do all of these skills. For example, draw vector diagrams. As you can see, tons of resources here. And then at the end, we've got some general information, some of the symbols and the units that you can refer to. Here they show you the information sheets that you're going to get in your exam paper, so you know what you will get, what formulas will be available to you for both papers. And then some marking guidelines with regard to how they work on the calculations. So having all this information will be very useful for when you are preparing not only your content, but how are you going to answer those questions. If you come to my subject, for example, CAT, and you look at the exam guidelines here, very similar with regard to the breakdown of the papers, what programs you need to be using, the breakdown of the paper. This is very useful when you're trying to work out how much time you should be spending on each question. Use that as a guide. The types of things they can ask as well, like file management, word processing, spreadsheets. Make sure that you know all of those functions, the things you can do in databases and so on. And then for paper 2, what's nice about the CAT one is they actually give you the verbs and what you need to be able to do with those verbs. Like, what's the difference in analyze and define and compare? They actually give you what it means, some examples and notes of how to answer those particular verbs. Like when they talk about justify, what are they actually asking? Here's the information that can be really useful for you. How to respond to true-false questions. There's a breakdown of your theory paper. Yeah, they clarify some of the concepts and the newer technologies for paper 2. This is particularly useful because this might not be in your textbook if you've got an older textbook, like solid state drives, 3D printers, URL shorteners. These are all videos that Mr. Long has on his computer terms channel as well. Like, what is big data? What are cryptocurrencies? So there's a nice group of definitions over here that can be very useful. There's some concepts that they're not asking. So if you see those in your textbook, then you don't have to worry about those ones. The HTML tag sheet and the input mask sheet that's going to be in your prac exam. So let's go look at one more example. Let's look at the IT one, for example. Again, very similar. Breakdown of what you need to be able to do in your paper. A breakdown of the mark allocation. Things they can ask in your object-oriented programming section, the database section, the things that they can ask, the things they're not allowed to ask, for example. They won't ask filter, sort, and locate. Do you know those SQL terms? What type of algorithms they could ask you. This is very useful. what's not going to be in the paper 1. And then your theory paper, there's the breakdown. I would, if I was an IT student, go look at the CAT one to go look at those new technologies, because they could be useful for this paper as well. So all of your subjects are here. So go search for the exam guidelines. Go look for the 2021 exam guidelines. If they change, you'll find newer dates. But these are the ones that you want to go through to understand not only what they're going to ask in your exam paper, but maybe other things, other tips, like you saw there, the wording that they use, things that they're not going to ask. Have that information available so that you can prepare well for your exams and know exactly what to expect. So go check out those exam guidelines, go share this with your other students and your friends. And so that's how you find the scope, what's going to be in your exam paper. If you're a student using this channel, then make sure you go to our exam tips. We've got tons of useful resources there that can help you not only for preparing for exams, but also for preparing for finals. And remember, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And remember, don't do it the long way, do it the Mr. Long way.